The wind is at our sails. The political winds are against these people and the party that welcomes them, the Democrat Party. Take the advantage, press the advantage. Don't give an inch. Republicans are feeling emboldened right now. There was an ad that went viral yesterday. This is from a guy, Jerome Davidson, who's running for Congress in Arizona. Take a listen.
Democrats like to say that no one needs an AR-15 for self-defense, that no one could possibly need all 30 rounds. But when this rifle is the only thing standing between your family and a dozen angry Democrats in Klan hoods, you just might need that semi-automatic and all 30 rounds.
This is a really clever ad, and it's a clever ad not just for the reasons that everyone is talking about. It's red meat, yeah, you go get them, you go, yeah, that's right, we're defending guns, we're calling Democrats racist, yeah, baby, this is great. It's not just clever for that reason. Frankly, I actually think the whole Democrats are the real racists line is a little bit overused, and the constant hearkening back to the antebellum South and referring to the Democrats as the party of the Klan. Sure, it's true, Democrats are the party of the Klan, but it seems a little cheap to me. And here's why it seems cheap to me. And it's actually why this ad is so clever, and it's why the Ku Klux Klan is a safe subject for this ad. The Ku Klux Klan doesn't exist. Practically speaking, there is no such thing as the Ku Klux Klan. There have been multiple groups in U.S. history that have called themselves the Ku Klux Klan, none of which exist today. It's gone. It's a boogeyman. It's not real. When you fear political violence in your community or anywhere else in the country, do you think it's going to come from the Ku Klux Klan, from people wearing hoods? No, of course not. It's going to come from the left, almost certainly, but it's going to come from Antifa, or it's going to come from BLM, or it's going to come from other left. It's going to come from Ruth Sent Us, or the other anti-pro-life groups, anti-pro-life, pro-abortion groups. It's going to come from left-wing militants, but it's not the Klan. The reason this is such a clever ad is that everybody hates the Klan. It's a totally unifying symbol. It's a symbol of an evil that isn't even real anymore. It's of a boogeyman, so people can unite around that. It does draw the historical connection between the Democrat Party and the Ku Klux Klan. It does point out that Second Amendment is not some buttress of white supremacy and the patriarchy and the Republicans and the conservatives. No, actually, vulnerable people, minority groups, or women who are physically more vulnerable than men, they actually benefit much more from the Second Amendment because it's an equalizer against angry mobs that might show up to your house, or against people who are physically bigger and stronger than you. So it's clever for that reason. It's a reminder, too, of something that I've said for years. I think this is the proof of something that I've said for years now, which is that today in America, our public discourse has become so shallow that the only way we can talk about evil is as racism. Racism is not only the greatest evil in the country, it's really the only evil. And so when we want to really attack, it's the worst thing you can be called in America is to be called a racist. And so whenever we want to attack someone, if you really want to hit them, you call them a racist, even when what they're doing has nothing to do with race. Democrats will accuse Republicans of racism for wanting to cut taxes, or wanting to reform schools, or wanting to save black babies. When we overrule Roe v. Wade and we make it more and pass pro-life laws and make it more difficult to have abortions, that will disproportionately save black lives. It will increase the black and Hispanic portions of the population, and somehow the libs call that racist as well. It's the only way that we can view things. And the only way that we can view the struggle between good and evil in American history is through the lens of the civil rights movement. And that has been true for a long time. Chris Caldwell wrote a very good book to this effect a few years ago called The Age of Entitlement. After the Civil Rights Act and after the Great Society, that represented not merely some new law that was being passed, but it represented a kind of revolution in America and in the way that we think of ourselves. And so what's so brilliant about this ad is that Jerome Davidson is plugging into that. He's saying, look, this is what is going to resonate. This is how Americans view themselves. So I am going to put myself there. It's the same reason that candidates wave flags. Wave the flag of it, wrap yourself in the flag, is because we know that those symbols resonate with people. And in America today, for everybody, the Ku Klux Klan is one of, if not the highest representations of evil. Racism is evil. The two are synonymous. And civil rights is the struggle. It is the struggle for liberation. Right now, text Knowles to 989898. I was wrong about the path inflation would take. I was not wrong. I was totally right. But our Treasury Secretary, Janet Yellen, was wrong, and she admitted it. That's a quote from her. She said, "There have been unanticipated and large shocks to the economy that have boosted energy and food prices and supply bottlenecks that have affected our economy badly. But at the time, I didn't fully understand." Didn't fully understand. There you have it. Straight from the horse's mouth. Didn't fully understand. Now, I know that right now you're probably worried about affording basic necessities in the months to come, food, gas, shelter. But hey, she didn't know. Oopsie daisy, not her fault, right? Goes without saying, we cannot trust these so-called authorities on economic policy, which is why you should invest at least some of your money in gold and silver with Birch Gold Group. These are the guys that I trust. You can protect your savings from a highly turbulent economy by diversifying your 401k or IRA into physical gold. Text Knowles right now, Knowles, to 989898. Get real advice from Birch Gold today. Text Knowles to 989898 to claim your free, no obligation info kit on protecting your savings with gold. Everyone's trying to apply the Black civil rights movement to their own groups. This was a strategy undertaken by the left during the 1970s. They saw how effective civil rights was for Black people. They said, okay, we're going to use this for Hispanic people. We're going to use this for Asian people. We're going to use this for women, second wave feminism. It never made any sense because Black people actually are a unique circumstance in America. The fact that lots and lots of Black people, the majority of Black people who are in America, have some descent from slavery, and that their ancestors were brought over in chains, is different than any other group. Hispanics can claim oppression, the Italians and the Irish, I guess, can claim oppression, the Asians can claim oppression, but those groups chose to come to America. And for Black people, it's different, so it gives Black people obviously there are Black immigrants from Africa who came after slavery, but for Black people as a group, that creates a unique historical circumstance, and groups like the Ford Foundation and other left-wing institutions decided that they were going to blur those distinctions and try to apply the ethos of civil rights to all of these other groups. And it worked pretty well, now even to the point that we're talking about the civil rights against oppression for homosexuals or transgender, as though it's the same thing as breaking free from chattel slavery and Jim Crow. It's the same thing now as breaking free from your bounds of biology and dresses and stiletto heels. So BuzzFeed, you understand that the Ellen Page saga that has dominated our public discourse for the past few days, the idea that Ellen Page, this actress, now goes by the name Elliot and doesn't want to be called Ellen anymore. This created a big stir on Twitter, because now if you call Ellen Page Ellen, you can be booted off. It happened to Jordan Peterson. It happened to Dave Rubin for even reporting on Jordan Peterson. Well, BuzzFeed then came back and said, wait a second, Twitter, you violated your own rules against hate speech because in your trending topics bar, you used the phrase Ellen Page. Because people were talking about Ellen Page trended. But according to your own rules, Ellen Page can't trend because that name, this actress's name, is hate speech because the actress doesn't want to go by Ellen anymore. And then do you know what Twitter did? Because we're living all the way through the looking glass in clown world. Twitter apologized and said, you're right. We can't allow a woman's name to trend. That woman's name is hate speech. What does this represent? If Ellen Page tomorrow came out and said, hey, I'm Ellen again. Do you know what's so crazy? They would have to get rid of Elliot because Elliot would then become her dead name. They call it a dead name when a person decides to pretend to be a member of the opposite sex and change his name. And then the name that person had gone by for his entire life goes away and you're not allowed to even utter it anymore. That's pretty crazy, right? Especially because they could change the name back and then it's the other one that goes away. What this represents is something much bigger than transgenderism or even sexual politics. It represents the left's broader rejection of the past. Everything that came before is evil and awful and oppressive. We need to liberate ourselves from the past. Past is always evil, the present is always a crisis, and the future is always going to be a utopia, just so long as you give us a little bit more power. That's the pitch that the left makes. And you see it so clearly in the idea of dead naming. Even one's own personal past, even one's own past identity can no longer be acknowledged. It's not just tearing down statues of old dead people. It's not just even rewriting the history books. It's your own past that now has to be completely denied in what is a kind of pseudo-religious sacrament. In Christianity, you have baptism, where the old man is washed away and you now put on the garment of Christ and you have a new life in Christ. Well, that's what you have in a perverse way, in a sacrilegious way, through the transgender coming out. You cast off your old name. You cast off your old identity, and that is dead now. And now you have this new identity in sexual delusion. It runs really, really deep. It touches on all of the bizarre, perverse eccentricities of leftism. It goes a lot deeper than just some actress. It's really weird. I think it's turning a lot of people off. I think people are waking up to how bizarre not just this weird sexual ideology is, but the entire leftist agenda. The wind is at our sails. I hope that Ellen and Elliot and all the pages and all this weird and the Bell Court Theater and all this craziness, I hope it continues to trend all the way to November. Press the advantage. The wind is at our sails. If you enjoyed that break from disinformation, historical revision, and screaming about the end of the world, be sure to hit the subscribe button so that you never miss another video.